down my heart like a trash can. Tore down the walls that I built for you.
Desire of the beat.
We're calling Peace of Noon Times. This is Osiris, Sia, Ra, Ammit, and Isis in the Bible, Part 4. All right? Listen to Sunrise Cosmic Reasoning. You were heavily reminded about how the journey of Ra through the underworld was not just a symbolic 12-hour travel or a 24-hour one. It was actually 72 million year cycle times 80, of which all space, all matter, and all time called SMAT goes through. All right, so this is the actual journey. I suggest you go back and watch the first, matter of fact, the video before this on part 3, just to get a refresher's course. But if you have just found this video and not the other ones, please go back and watch the other ones. All right, so this is called the Solar Boat of Ra. All right, the outer circle contains all. This is what our ancestors call Ra's boat or the Matjet. This is it right here, the outer circle. The ancient Egyptians believed that as the sun god, Ra's role was to sail across the heavens during the sky in his boat called the Bark of Millions of Years. However, down through evolution, Zupu, 6 ether forces, caused the knowledge to go from all of the sunniverses, universes, going through the descending of all nature, Netta, into the Tuat, Hades, torturous hell, underworld, to just our sun and this solar system. Here are some examples from ancient Kemet, Egypt, and today's actual version. All right, so this is an ancient depiction of Ra, which you see right here in front with the rest of the gods rolling with them. The picture above is Ra riding the Atet or Matjet, the morning boat of what we call the noon signs, the Topaz. This is our depiction of that, the Topaz. Then when Ra reached the western horizon, 6 western noon signs going downward, the second boat was called the Mesektet, evening boat called the bottom half of noon signs. So I took this picture, which was actually facing to the left, and I just turned it to the right to depict the direction that Ra and them was going in. Ra and his companions traveling 3 southeastward at this time. March 25th, 2020-25. Nupu mental year 99, noon Ethiopian year 63. So now you see it's the reversal. So we're at this point right here. Now, the actual thing our ancestors were referencing was our solar system. Reaper, which is Ra, also known as Reason. Mary, which is Mercury, known as Nun, which is water. Venus, also known as Vena. Nunet, which is water. Earth, Gertha, known as Het, infinity. Mars, known as Marcia. He-Het, infinity. Jupiter, known as Jutar, Kek, darkness. Saturn, known as Satuna, Keket, darkness. Uranus, Surana, known as Amun, means invisible. Neptune, Nepitu, Amunet, also invisible. Amun and Amenet were called invisible because they were so far away you couldn't see them with the naked eyes. Getting back to the 12 gates, when you look into Revelations chapter 21, we see this, King James Version, and I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And had a great and high, had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. On the east 3 gates, on the north 3 gates, on the south 3 gates, and on the west 3 gates. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and in them the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. Listen to sound right cosmic reason. The 12 angels on each gate are the 12 guards at the 12 gates that Ra met on his journey through the Duat. Here are the Kemet Egyptian deities named and numbered here. The first gate, Sia, deification of perception. Standing on the prow of the sunboat invites a snake called Desert Protector to unlock the gate to the arrival of Ra, who in the form of the god Atum, deification of the sunset sun, observes his enemies being massacred. All right, so this is a little twisted, but we'll just to add on that when 6 West cataclysm had occurred, that's when our sun specifically, and all other suns, but on Earth, when the explosion of Leviathan had caused 6 ether to break forth from the sun, stopped the moon from rotating, and a lot of the pigment gods were killed. All right, so this is what this is referencing, that the 6 West was Zupu, the dragon, 6 ether was being unlocked for the bottom half of hell to start. Sia or Sa, an ancient Egyptian god with the deification of perception in the Heliopolitan Ennead cosmogony, and is probably equivalent to the intellectual energies of the heart of Ptah in the Memphite theology. He also had a connection with writings and was often shown in anthropomorphic form, holding a papyrus scroll. This papyrus was thought to embody intellectual achievements. The god personifies the perceptive mind. In ancient Egyptian mythology, Sia was believed to have been created from blood that dripped from the phallus of Ra. In the Old Kingdom, Sia was often depicted on the right side of Ra holding his sacred papyrus. All right, this is Sia. Listen to sound right cosmic reason. This deity is found in the New Testament under the word mind. All right, this is Sia, was depicted as a man with the hieroglyph of the same name above his head. Here you see the word nous in the Greek concordance of the Bible. Nous, mind, understanding, intellect. Noun, masculine. Definition, mind, understanding, intellect, meaning the mind, the reason. The reasonable faculty, intellect, derived from the base of G 1097, gnosko, meaning to know. Corresponding, the Hebrew equivalent often associated with nous is lev, strong, H 3820, which is commonly translated as heart, and encompasses mind, will, and emotions. Listen to Sia, Nubaha, Nupu, sound right reasoning. It should be noted that I was called the heart of Ptah Nupu in the Kemetic Egyptian language up above. You see, the heart is also part of the nous definition. Also, for the noon record, I am the female brain, nude mind, and my mental construct is Nubahu, who in ancient Kemet, it is he that is being called a male with mind named Sia. In other words, the negative force of evolutionary mixed our names and function with one another. Remember this well. All right, so when you look at it, you see here, one of the definitions of Sia was called the heart of Ptah. All right, so when they brought this into the New Testament, copying and pasting, they hid it under the word nous. All right, because Nuha and Nubuhu are brain nous at this time. All right, it says, another hidden reality about myself is found in my description above that says this. He also had a connection with writing and was often shown in the anthropomorphic from holding a papyrus scroll in part. The key word is scrolling. You can see that in Revelation chapter 5 as a scroll mentioned a few times. Also remember, Nubaha Sia represent perception or ability to see with one's eyes mentally as well as spiritually. Read this particular chapter that mentions our Nubahu and Nubaha's function in seeing and perceiving, but written in the book of Revelation as angels when we are far beyond spirit beings. Revelation 5. The Lamb takes the scroll. Then I saw a scroll in the right hand of the one seated on the throne, who is worthy to break the seals and open the scroll. But no one in heaven or earth or under the earth was able to open the scroll or look inside of it. And I began to weep bitterly because no one was found worthy to open the scroll or look inside it. The root of David was trying to open the scroll, and he came and took the scroll from the right hand of the one seated on the throne when he had taken the scroll. Daniel 12. But you, Daniel, rolled up and sealed the words of the scroll until the time of the end. Ezekiel chapter 2. Then I looked and saw a hand stretched out to me, and it was a scroll which he unrolled before me. Listen to Nubuha Soundright Cosmic Reasoning. We brain new gods and goddesses who were once physical pygmies, let this be known. Listen to reason. Now the writer shall attempt to demonstrate the personification of these powers and forces of nature by way of their brain new. See page 6872 and 88. Numerical number 6, formula 2-3. Fire, air, parts and person, brain, and numerical 12, formula 4-1. Water, ground, parts, person, nerves, brains, and nerves. Creations of the brain new god Nubuhu and his consort goddess Nubaha, who personified themselves as the Neo-Pygmy race at the source of the Nile River in motherland Africa. It is true that the writer chose formulas 2 and 3 and 4-1 because the head brain is in the top half of the circle of order, and the nerves of the brain run through the person of the individual. Like formulas 2 to 3 and 4-1 cover the whole circle. Let it be, remember, always let it be known. Introduction to the Nature book 2, page 89. Let's move on to the second gate god. Second gate, the guardian god is called the swallow of sinners, and his gate precedes a lake of fire. Listen to Soundright Cosmic Reason. This is no other than Ammit. Ancient Egyptians believed that when one dies, the soul of the dead makes its way to the underworld, where it should be judged by a panel of gods that include Osiris, the lord of the afterlife. Nephthys and Isis, the soul is ushered to the hall of truth, also known as the hall of mind, where it shall be judged. The Egyptians had a name for this process: the judgment of Osiris. In the hall of two truths, the deceased person's heart is placed on the scale of truth and weighed against the feather of Ma'at. It must be noted that this process takes place in the presence of gods like Ammit, the jackal-headed god of funerals and embalming, and the ibis-headed Thoth, the god of wisdom and writing. The latter deity Thoth is the one who records the judgment pronounced by the panel of judgments. If the deceased person's heart comes out lighter than Ma'at's feather, he or she is ushered into the afterlife, where they would spend an eternity with the god Osiris. It means that the dead person was good and honest in his lifetime. However, if the heart is heavier than the feather, the underworld creature Ammit immediately consumes the heart. Such a person is believed to have been impure, unkind, and evil during his or her lifetime. Once the heart is eaten by Ammit, the soul ceases to exist. Ammit therefore played a very important role in the judgment process of the soul in the dead. It is also for this reason she was sometimes known as the devourer of bad souls. All right. This Kemet Egyptian story was replicated in the book of Revelation, chapter 19:19. Then I saw the beasts and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to wage war against the rider on the horse and his army. But the beast was captured, and with it the false prophet who had performed the signs on his behalf. With these signs he had deluded those who had received the mark of the beast and worshipped his image. The two of them were thrown alive into the fiery lake of burning sulfur. Revelation chapter 20:10 in part. But fire came down from heaven and devoured them, and the devil who deceived them was thrown into the lake of burning sulfur, where the beast and the false prophet had been thrown. They will be tormented day and night forever and ever. Revelation chapter 13 in part. The dragon stood on the shore of the sea, and I saw a beast coming out of the sea. It had 10 horns and 7 heads with 10, and I saw a beast coming out of the sea. It had 10 horns, 7 heads with 10 crowns on his horns, and on each head a blasphemous name. The beast I saw resembled a leopard, but had feet like those of a bear and a mouth like those of a lion. The dragon gave the beast his power and his throne and great authority. One of the heads of the beast seemed to have had a fatal wound but the fatal wound had been healed. The whole world was filled with wonder and followed the beast. People worshiped the dragon because he had given authority to the beast. And they also worshiped the beast and asked, who is like the beast? Who can wage war against it? All right, so another thing, I wanted to make it known that during my other videos I wanted to be known that when they use the word or the term like, when they describe the beast also resembled. See, they said resembled a leopard, but had feet like of a bear and a mouth like that of. So it's saying it's similar. It's not saying that is what it is. So when you go into the regular dictionary or even in the Greek, it's going to tell you something similar. It's not that that's what it was. All right. So let's go forward. Listen to Sunrise Cosmic Reason. The beast being described is Ammit with the animals switch. Let's read and look at what Ammit is described as in comparison. A crocodile, her head usually depicted as that of a crocodile, symbolizing ferocity and danger. The crocodile was a common threat along with the Nile feared for its predatory nature. Lion, leopard. The forelimbs and body of Ammit are often represented by a lion or leopard, both of which were associated with royalty, power, and vengeance. These animals were seen as protectors, but also fierce hunters representing judgment and the execution of justice. Hippopotamus, her hindquarters are typically those of a hippopotamus, one of the most dangerous and unpredictable animals in ancient Kemet, Egypt. Hippos, while generally associated with fertility and protection, could also be highly aggressive. This aspect of Ammit symbolized brute strength and inevitability of destruction for the unjust. All right. So this is Ammit. You can see Ammit has the leopard, lion, upper body, but the mouth and hind legs are different. It should be no surprise at this point that Ammit is the beast referred to here and in Daniel chapter 7 with modifications. All right. So remember, it talks about a leopard, and then the back of it was like a bear. But we know that, again, this is them trying to be slick. All right, and it went from, instead of being a lion, it's a crocodile because they was copying. But now when you look at the beast in Revelation chapter 13, you see what I'm saying? No, this is my bad. This is the beast of Daniel's chapter 7. But you can see the leopard body. See the leopard body, the back legs and stuff. It's like a bear, but you can see the similarities because this right here, these things are not what they appear to be. All right. You want to know? I think you should really go back and watch some of my religious videos where I actually tell you what this stuff is in the book of Daniel and all that. All right, Revelation chapter 13 in part. Then I saw a second beast coming out of the earth. It had two horns like a lamb, but it spoke like a dragon. It exercised all the authority of the first beast on its behalf and made the earth and its inhabitants worship the first beast, whose fatal wound had been healed. And it performed great signs, even causing fire to come down from heaven to the earth in full view of the people because of the sign that was given power to perform on behalf of the first beast. It deceived the inhabitants of the earth. It ordered them to set up an image in honor of the beast who was wounded by the sword and yet lived. The second beast was given power to give breath to the image of the first beast so that the image could speak and cause all who refused to worship the image to be killed. It also forced all people, great, small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hands or on their foreheads so that they could not buy or sell unless they had the mark with the same name of the beast or the number of his name. Now, this right here, when it says the beast was wounded and it was healed, this is talking about Leviathan. When Leviathan was exploded from the sun 18 million years ago, it was damaged. It was a solar force, then it became a water force, and it crashed into the earth. More on this later on in the document. So just want y'all to equal stand that. All right, this is who we're talking about. Listen to sound like cosmic reason. The first beast is Leviathan, and the second beast is Geb, earth god, animal, spirit powers, and their various government systems on earth and how they pick and choose them. All right, so that's what this is right here. These animals are spirit beings in their animal form and nature, which are what? Killers. Everything on this particular picture is some type of a predator. A bear, a leopard, a lion, a dragon. You understand? They kill flesh beings. So this is now we finna let you show you what Noon says about it. Listen to reason. It's written that the number 666 is the number of a man, and the man is called the beast, to whom the dragon gives his power. The revelation and knowledge to be known here are this. Leviathan, who is called the dragon and the serpent, is the god of the sea, also known as Poseidon, Neptune, Sobek, the crocodile god of mythology. The sea god is a part and member of the earth god. The earth god has many different members and parts. The secret is this: Leviathan, meaning the animal power of unity, and levitation, represents all spirit beings, including all gods and goddesses that exist in the bottom half of the smack circle of order during the bottom half existing, which is now. Because Leviathan, being the water powers of the earth god, is the strongest member and part of the earth god, plus the fact that the earth god is naturally the dominant power over the earth by way of the sun god. The underworld god is also a member and part of the earth god, who shares this underworld power with the moon god. Furthermore, most natural ether and all spirit beings in the bottom half of the circle of order are Zupu, Leviathan, who at this time is headed by the underworld god Osiris, also called Yama, and Pluto. Let it be remembered, always let it be known. Listen to reason. So the existing during the cycle of death, the bottom half of the smack circle of order means whichever person, group, or persons, nation of persons, or race of persons, the head of the spirit world decides to select and support. That is, give the ruling and controlling spirit power to mentally, materially, and spiritually. It's called the beast for several reasons. One, we all live in a world of animals. The zodiac, the bottom half of the circle of order. So an animal rules animals, and a beast naturally so rules beasts. The beast, the ruler, is called number 666 because he, she, or they get their ruling powers from the negative 666 cycle forces of nature controlling the bottom half of the smack circle of order. 3, he, she, or they who get their ruling powers from the negative 666 cycle of nature are likely to rule like a beast unjustly, unreasonably, and selfishly to other than their own kind. And 4, he or she or they who get their ruling powers from the negative are apt to control with an iron hand and deal with others devilishly and evilly and unjustly and unequally. The number this writer represents is 999 in the positive, who is Nupu, the powers and forces of almighty nature who resurrects the mental dead and give them true guidance, including the negative 666 forces of nature, flesh and spirit. Let it be, remember, always let it be known. Introduction to the Nature of Nature, Book 2, pages 161, 162. This is why Ammit is described different in Revelation versus Daniel. So when you look at Daniel, they are separated. But as we just read, these are spirit powers who also control he, she, or they. So whatever ruling governmental systems that are on the planet, they are divided amongst the spirit and physical forces of the earth god and Leviathan. Leviathan being the beast, in some cases the first beast, and then the earth god being the second beast. And because these animals, when you trace them all the way back, all of them come from the earth, from their ancestors. That if the first lion and all that stuff, these things came from eggs in their original form. They didn't look like this now. This is way down the line. All right, so That's why when you look at some Christians, they talk about this stuff. They say, oh yeah, these are world governments and stuff like that. That's why you see over here, they got the Lion for Babylon, Medo, Persia, Greece, and Rome. But I already did videos on dams explaining what these animals was, as well as this statue of Nebuchadnezzar's dream, gold. I think is gold. I think that's, I forgot what this color was, but I know it's gold. I think this is silver. I think the legs and stuff was bronze. This is like iron, and then it was clay at the bottom, something like that. All right, so let's keep it going. Listen to Sunrise Cosmic Reason. Now that we know that Kemet's spiritual system was repackaged in ghost eyes for the Caucasians' use, it was all who can reason should agree. Now let's relook at these two quotes again before moving on to gate number 3 in Ra's symbolic journey. Revelation chapter 20, verse 10 in part. For fire came down from heaven and devoured them, and the devil who deceived them was thrown into the lake of burning sulfur, where the beast and the false prophet have been thrown. They will be tormented day and night forever and ever. Now look at Kemet African Egyptian version. In Egyptian mythology, Ammit, also spelled Ammut, Ammit, Amam, Amenmet, and Ahimet, was the personification of divine retribution for all the wrong one had committed in life. She dwelt in the hall of Ma'at, who was the personification of concept of truth, balance, and order. In the ancient Egyptian underworld known as Duat, hearts of the dead were weighed by Anubis against a feather for Ma'at's headdress. The hearts of those who were heavy with wrongdoing failed the test were given to Ammit for her to devour. Those souls were devoured were not permitted to enter Aru, having to be restless forever, effectively dying a second time. If the heart was lighter than a feather, then the soul was judged by the god of the underworld Osiris. Again, I didn't put this in here, but I just thought of it. So it's simple. They say they died the first time, and then they died a second time. So if you read in the Bible, because I don't want to get off the screen. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you the quote. What Bible quote says there is a second death? Okay, in Revelation, it said to mention a second death is mentioned 3 times. Revelation 2:11, Revelation 20 verse 6, Revelation 20:14, Revelation 20 verse 8. But I wanted to read it if I can. Let's see, what is the second death? One it says, okay, Revelation 20 verse 8 say, but as for the cowardly, the faithless, the detestable, as for the murderers, the sexually immoral, sorcerers, idolaters, and all liars, their portion will be in the lake that burns with fire and sulfur, which is the second death. All right, so you have a first death when you die and a second death. So again, we see in the story of Ammit, they record 2 deaths. And this is where the Bible took that from. And now you got 2 deaths in the book of Revelation, which I named the actual verses. If it was correct, I just was citing from Google real quick. All right? Listen to Soundray Cosmic Reason. The first clue is the word devour that is used to describe Ammit as the one that punishes the wrongdoer, the same way hell is used to punish the sinner. The Egyptian god that judges the dead sinners who were swallowed by Ammit is Osiris. However, in Revelation chapter 20, Osiris's name is removed and says God, which means ghost, is judging the dead. Plagiarism at its finest, the judgment of the dead. Revelation chapter 20, 11 through 12. Then I saw a great white throne and him who was seated on it. The earth and the heavens fled from its presence, and there was no place for them. And I saw the dead, great and small, standing before the throne, and books were open, and another book was open, which is the book of life. The dead were judged according to what they had done, as recorded in the books. Since we equal stand that this god is Osiris, this also means that these books are referencing what's called the pyramid text, the coffin text, the Egyptian book of 2 ways, and the coming forth by day, the book of the dead, which predate Christianity. Christians can no longer deny what the Bible truly is, a modern book of spells and curses used in hopes to protect them in this life and after death from the devil. Same as the ancient African Kemet Egyptians, who was just as concerned. Revelation chapter 20 verse 12 is based upon the pyramid text of Pharaoh Unas around 4,425 years ago, or 2400 BCE. Another fact to consider is the 4 cardinal directions mentioned in Revelation 21:13 says this: on the east 3 gates, on the north 3 gates, on the south 3 gates, on the west 3 gates, are also based on the 4 cardinal directions inside of Pharaoh Unas' burial chamber. All right, so this is the Pharaoh's burial chamber. Spelled UNAS. You just look it up. And this is the burial chamber right here. All right. As you can see an east gate and all this other stuff like that. We're gonna go a little deeper. All right, the Unas tomb area, pyramid text online. These are the prayers on each wall. So if you notice that you got south, east, west, and north. West, south, east, all these are the walls, because what they're using, because the pyramid text and all this stuff is in the book of Revelation, that's why they're getting all this stuff on north, south, east walls. Just they're altering it to make you look up when actually they are using stuff that is actually down, which is how the Zoop operates. Down is up, up is down. Or right is wrong, wrong is right. All right? What this writer in Noon Science has been repeating is that all of existence is in hell. Go back and watch the previous Osiris videos 1 through 3. The number 12 is the clue. Things are backwards and lies are being accepted as truth for the last 6,063 years. Let's look at the gematria. All right, so we got hell, Tartarus, Hades, the Tuat underworld, the Duat, and evolution. So what I'm going to show you is that I added all of these up. Remember, the reverse is in play. When we add up their numbers, reveal some interesting things. Hell, 37 plus 19 plus 71 plus 17 equals 144. 1 plus 4 plus 4 equals 9. Reverse the 9 into a 6. Tartarus, 118 plus 28 plus 90 plus 62 equals 306. 3 plus 0 plus 6 equals 9. Reverse the 9 into a 6. Hades, 37 plus 19 plus 28 plus 26 equals 180. 180. 1 plus 8 plus equals 9. Reverse the 9 into a 6. The Tuat, 95 plus 23 plus 94 plus 40 equals 252. 2 plus 5 plus 2 equals 9. Reverse the 9 into a 6. Underworld, 134 plus 53 plus 136 plus 55 equals 378. 3 plus 7 plus 8 equals 18. 1 plus 8 equals 9. Reverse the 9 to a 6. The Duat, 79 plus 25 plus 110 plus 38 equals 252. 2 plus 5 plus 2 equals 9. Reverse the 9 to a 6. All right, so now we're going to take the number of a man, ghost god, Ammit, and the beast, and add them the same way. Number of a man come out to 123 plus 51 plus 20 plus 201 plus 66 equals 441. 4 plus 1 equals 9. Reverse the 9 to a 6. Ghost god, 95 plus 41 plus 121 plus 31 equals 288. 2 plus 8 plus 8 equals 16 equals 18. That's 666. Ammit, 56 plus 20 plus 79 plus 34 equals 189. 1 plus 8 plus 9 equals 18. 666. The beast, 80 plus 26 plus 136 plus 46 equals 288. 2 plus 8 plus 8 equals 18. 666. Before we move on to the third gate of Ra's journey, let this writer add more unknown connections. The Osiris and Jesus genealogy connection and the number 14. Listen to Nubahar's Sunright Cosmic Reasoning. According to the Osiris mythology, he was cut into 14 pieces and scattered, separated by his brother Set. What is also interesting is the genealogy of Jesus is 42, which breaks into 3 sets of 14 people when separated. Let's y'all look at that real quick. All right, and from Jeconiah all the way down to where Jesus is 14. Listen to Nubal Sanre Cosmic Reasoning. For those who did not know, Osiris also had 14 beings in his family tree from the garden unto himself. Let us count. All right, so you count from Ra back to Kepri. You get Ra, 1, Atum, 2, 3, Amun, 4, Mut, 5, Shu, 6, Tefnut, 7, Gib, 8, Nut, 9, Man, 10, Isis, 11, Osiris, 12, Nephthys, 13 is Set, and 14 is Kepri. Let us continue to the next gate. Third gate is guardian snake and stinger, while the porter herself is the goddess, mistress of food. Some jackals watch over the lake of life, interdicted to the dead, because it is the place where Ra draws his breath. Listen to Nubal Sanre Cosmic Reasoning. The word stinger is a clue, and this can be found in Revelation chapter 9, 3, and 10 in part. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. And they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stingers in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months. This gate was said to be watched by jackals, are exchanged into 2 cherubims guarding the tree of life in the Bible, Genesis 3:22 through 24. And the Lord God said, behold, the man has become as one of us to know good and evil. Now lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. Therefore the Lord God sent him forth from the garden of Eden to till the ground from whence he was taken. So he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the garden of Eden cherubims and a flaming sword which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life. Also, this lake of life is written as the river of the water of life in Revelation chapter 22. And he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, in part. Listen to Nubal Sanre Cosmic Reasoning. The scorpions mentioned in Revelation chapter 9 were borrowed and remixed from Isis and the 7 scorpions mythology. Isis and the 7 scorpions, ancient Egyptian mythology. Key points. The myth of Isis and the 7 scorpions is a tale from ancient Egyptian mythology about protection, resilience, and divine intervention. The main figures are Isis, the goddess of magic and healing, and 7 scorpions who help her. The story involves Isis fleeing from Set, encountering challenges, and being aided by the loyal scorpions. Themes include protection, loyalty, the power of magic, and divine justice. Isis is a central figure in Egyptian stories, known for her protective and healing abilities. The 7 scorpions symbolize different aspects of protection and divine help in the story. The myth of Isis and the 7 scorpions has influenced art, literature, and cultural beliefs with themes of divine protection and moral lessons transcending time. Isis and the 7 scorpions overview and key facts. Key figures: Isis, the goddess of magic and healing, and 7 scorpions. Isis runs away from Set, gets help from 7 scorpions, and faces many problems. Shows ideas of protection, gods helping in the power of magic. Shows Isis protecting healer, and she is strong. She's a strong god in Egyptian mystery, standing for protection, danger, change in old Egyptian culture. Shows that being kind and loyal is important, and that gods protect people. Affected later stories, art, and books, and still matters today. Meet the 7 scorpions. In this story, Isis and 7 scorpions. Each scorpion has a special name and feature that shows their role as guards. These scorpions are more than just normal insects. They stand for different kinds of protection and divine help. Think of them as a group of guards, each with a special trait that adds to their overall strength. Here's a list showing the name, features, and what each scorpion stands for. So you got Tefn, which is fierce and aggressive, represent direct protection and facing danger. Befin, stealthy and cunning, stands for smart defense and surprise attack. Mestet, fast and agile, shows quick response and ability to adjust in tough situations. Mestet, strong and tough, means endurance and ability to handle difficult times. Patet, watchful and alert, represent always watching and being aware of what is around. Tijet, loyal and committed, stands for constant loyalty and dedication. And Matet, wise and thoughtful, shows wisdom and the skill to make good choices. The same way the 7 scorpions protected Isis, Aset, and helped that goddess, the scorpions in this chapter did what God told them to do. More proof of Kemet Egyptian spiritual and written influences mixed with hidden events that many are still confused to this day. Let's move on to the 4th gate deity. The 4th gate, some deities carry ropes to measure the extension of the netherworld fields, as well as in the daily life of the Egyptians. The measurement of the fields was carried out for tax purposes. This is also where the 4 human ethnic groups, according to the Egyptian, were depicted. The cattle of Ra, Egyptians themselves, Levantines, Libyans, and Nubians. Listen to Nubaha Sunray Cosmic Reason. This measure is shown in Revelation chapter 11, 1, the 2 witnesses. And there was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the angels stood saying, rise. Excuse me. It was in groups were also the humans outside in the Bible quote calls, excuse my bad. Let me start over. And there was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood saying, rise and measure the temple of God and the altar and them that worship therein. In this quote, the measuring was done inside versus the 4th gate measuring was outside, where 4 human groups were also the humans outside in the Bible quote calls people on the outside Gentiles, heathens, and non-Jews. Side note, the actual ropes on the bottom have epochs of 36 million years from 6 west to 6 east. Remember this well, kins and friends. All right, these from 6 west to 6 east, so-called ropes in Kemet mythology. The 5th gate, this gate is the goddess, lady of duration, while its guardian serpent is flame-eyed. This access is inhabited by the perfidious demon Apep, embodiment of evil and chaos, bitter enemy of Ra, here called evil of face. 20 deities managed to stem his devastating power by continuing to dissect it, while the heads of those he devoured emerge from his coils. The sun boat moves on and Ra leaves this dramatic region. Listen to Nubaha Sunright Cosmic Reason. The Lady of Duration is mentioned in Revelation chapter 17, Babylon, the prostitute on the beast. One of the 7 angels who had the 7 bowls came and said to me, come, I will show you the punishment of the great prostitute who sits by many waters. Then the angel carried me away in the spirit into a wilderness. There I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast that was covered with blasphemous names and had 7 heads and 10 horns. The woman was dressed in purple and scarlet and was glittering with gold, precious stones, and pearls. She held a golden cup in her hand filled with abominable things and the filth of her adulteries. The name written on her forehead was a mystery. Babylon the Great, the mother of prostitutes and of the abomination of the earth. Side note, this mystery woman, mother of prostitutes, whore, Babylon the Great, abomination is no other than Leviathan, a giant sex force as stated in Noon Science. So when you look at these pictures, they always show a voluptuous woman looking sexual on an animal. And you know it's sex because it's talking about she was riding the beast. So here you can see these are the animal powers. This also represents the earth god. This represents the water. That's what this is, because Leviathan is more feminine than masculine in the bottom half. So that's what y'all looking at. So you look at the word, look up in the gematria, great prostitute, 92. Leviathan comes out to 92. The mother of whores, Leviathan is sex force. All right? So stop believing that this actual animal exists somewhere. or it's symbolic as other things. It's the earth god and the nations and people and places that the earth produces, or people build on the earth by using things from the earth to build, above and underground. Revelation 12:12 says, "Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time." And this is a lie. Leviathan been on the planet 18 million years. Ain't no such thing as a short time. Don't listen to this. That right there is a lie right here. This is why the harlot is on top of many waters, because that's where Leviathan Lucifer was casted to from our sun 18 million years to earth directly, to the sea and ocean. When did the Great Flood of Noah occur and what caused it? The Great Flood of Noah occurred approximately 17,250,000 years ago, and this means that Noah existed long before Adam in the sense of time. In fact, Adam was descendants of Noah. The history of the ancients show that a subcontinent called Atlantis existed at the time of the Great Flood, and it was submerged under waters by Lucifer fall to the earth after being cast from the sun. As it came to earth, the great serpent's powers caused interference with the magnetism that controls the earth and the moon in their courses. And this interference brought on the great deluge, both from the sky and the waters of the earth, which rolled over parts of the planet like a tidal wave. Lucifer is Leviathan. Job, the 41st chapter, Isaiah 27 chapter, 1st verse, Revelation 12 chapter 9 verse, Genesis 3 chapter 1 verse. Who is the moon god called Sin by the ancients? Noah's arch is the crescent of the moon, end quotes, written by Ammit Rakapata Alpha 1967 AD. This is also why Leviathan Lucifer is mentioned as playing in the waters in the Bible. Psalm 74:14, you crushed the heads of Leviathan, you fed them to the creatures. It was you who crushed the heads of Leviathan and gave it as food to the creatures of the desert. You crushed the heads of Leviathan and let the desert animals eat him. Psalms 104:26, there the ships go to and fro, and Leviathan which you formed to frolic there, see the ships sailing along, and Leviathan which you made to play. Job 41, can you pull in Leviathan with a fish hook, or tie down his tongue with a rope? Can you catch Leviathan with a hook or put a noose around his jaw? Job 3:8, may those who curse days curse that day, those who are ready to rouse Leviathan. Let those who are expert at cursing, those cursing should rouse Leviathan, curse that day. And it says, Isaiah 27:1, that day the Lord would take his sharp, great, and mighty sword and bring judgment. That day the Lord would punish with his sword, his fierce, great, and powerful sword, Leviathan, the gliding serpent. So I want y'all to remember this word here, right? I want y'all to remember the word sword, right? And that he will be pierced. All right, and he said he was slain. He said with a great and powerful sword. So you see the word sword is mentioned here twice, right? It says no one is so fierce as to rouse Leviathan, then who's able to stand against? Then it is he who can stand before me. No one is so fierce as to rouse Leviathan, then who is able to stand against me? No one is so fierce that. Job 41:25. When Leviathan rises up, the mighty are terrified. They withdraw before himself up. The mighty are afraid at the crashing. They are beside themselves. When Leviathan rise up, the mighty are terrified. They withdraw before his thrashing. So this book is acknowledging that Lucifer, right, or Leviathan, is in the water. All right? He makes the depth seethe like a cauldron. He makes the sea like a jar. So you talking about a cauldron that's talking about like fire, some heat. Churn like a boiling cauldron and stirs up the sea like a pot of ointment. Leviathan makes the water boil. Okay? Leviathan does all these things. And this is another reason why people disappear in the Bermuda Triangle, because Leviathan is doing that. All right. Another one, Job 41:9. Surely hope of overcoming him is false. Is not the sight of him overwhelming? Merely a glimpse of this monster makes all courage melt. Anyone who sees Leviathan loses courage and falls to the ground. Any hope of capturing him proves false. You can't capture Leviathan because it's part of the water. It's in the water. You can't do it. His snorting flashes with light, and his eyes are like the rays of dawn. Sneezing, flash forth light, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the dawn. When Leviathan sneezes, it gives out a flash of light. Its eyes are like first rays. Again, remember it's a quote where Jesus said he beheld Satan fell from the sky like lightning. So I'm gonna get that quote real quick, so to show you about that as well. What quote would Jesus say he saw Lucifer fall from the sky like lightning? It says in Luke 10:18 says, I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven. So that's showing you that's talking about Leviathan. When the sun spit out Leviathan in Revelation chapter 12, and we just read in the Bible interpretation explanation, it was an explosion of light, gamma radiation. All right. Moving on to the second part of the fifth gate that says, this gate is the goddess, lady of duration, while its guard serpent is flame-eyed. These flame-eyes are found in Revelation chapter 1, 12 through 14. When I turned to see who was speaking to me, I saw 7 gold lampstands, and standing in the middle of the lampstands was someone like the Son of Man. He was wearing a long robe with gold sash across his chest. His head and his hair were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were like the flames of fire. Listen to Nubuhar sound right cosmic reasoning. The guardian serpent is no other than Leviathan, aka Lucifer. Look at Job 41:18 said Leviathan's eyes are like eyelids of dawn and flashes of light when it sneezes. Let's look at some examples. So now you got dawn, which is light, and you got flashes of light that come from the sun. Again, this is taking us and tying it back in that the devil, aka Lucifer, aka Leviathan, right, was casted out of heaven, which is the sun. It should be equal still that Christians and those who follow the Bible have been fooled by the devil, Leviathan, the beast, along with the rest of the world, as their scripture states. Revelation 12:7 through 9, they have been calling the flames of fire Jesus, Yahshua, Yahushua, Yahweh, etc. Now these are some of the pictures. Foolishness, all deception. All of these and more images are false and do not resemble any facts. Remember this well. All right, so that concludes part 4. I hope you all enjoyed it, and we shall be back on a part 5. True mental cosmic peace at noon time.